to episode 2. Hope you enjoyed the first episode. So it's Will again from FBS Financial Group, and in this video we are diving into the core structure of the typical Cayman fund, the legal entities involved, the master feeder setup, the essential documents and roles, essentially, that you will need to get this fund running, live, and staying compliant. So again, if you're very serious about launching the offshore fund, don't be afraid to get in contact. The booking link is down below. We can go ahead and book a meeting in with me for free. Okay, so let's start. The core legal entities. There's an exempt company is the most common vehicle. The SPC for multi-strategy funds. The limited partnership, sometimes used in private equity, and the trust structure. So the most common vehicle, again, is the exempt company. This is a flexible entity specifically designed for conducting business outside of the Cayman Islands. It has no minimum capital requirements, can be issued multiple share classes, and is ideal for hedge fund operations. Again, about Fortune Solutions here, we do actually currently offer one of the most competitive rates for the Cayman Islands company formation. Anyways, if you did just want a single one, we do have competitive rates there, and again, those rates are translated into these fund setups as well. So if you're running multiple strategies and you know, are looking at the SPC in need of the internal segregation of assets and liabilities, then again, think of a holding entity with legal separate cells. Each portfolio is ring-faced from the others, essentially, if that kind of makes sense without showing a diagram right now. In private equity or venture capital funds, again, you look at a limited partnership, as this is most, you know, definitely less common for hedge funds who have never ever seen it, never ever done that, would never do that, but offers pass-through treatment and is investor familiar. So finally, trust structures. These are rarely bespoke. You know, we do deal with a lot of trusts, but they're bespoke regarding to setting the hedge fund regarding a trust. So maybe again, that's a very complex topic, and you would have to probably book in a meeting with me, and we can go into that with our advisory team as well. So looking at the master feeder structure, again, we've got the US feeder, the offshore feeder, both feeders into Cayman Master Fund. There's another video on my YouTube channel explaining that, but I'm going to break it down for now. Okay, so both feeders always go into the Cayman Master Fund. So if you've seen the other video, you will see, imagine a Cayman company, and then below it, the subsidiaries are the feeder funds. So this could be based in BVI for European investors, and this could be based in Delaware for US investors to make things compliant over there. And again, it allows all investors to access the same strategy without causing negative tax consequences of regulatory complications on the investor side and, of course, the fund side. Okay, so that hopefully makes sense. Again, if it doesn't, you can drop me an email, leave a comment, and I'll explain it to you once again. So moving on to directors and service providers. Again, every regulated fund needs a board of directors, at least 2. Ideally, 1 is from the Cayman Islands to satisfy substance rules. Next, you need a fund admin. This is a backbone of operational integrity. They calculate NAV, manage investor subscriptions, redemptions, that's on the investor side, and obviously issue the investor statements, which is that third party I was on about recently. You also need the custodian which also can be the prime broker, to actually hold the fund's assets. In most hedge funds that we've actually worked with, this role is generally done by the prime broker, so it's all kind of, you know, done, sorted. You don't need to worry about it. The same as NAV, it's done for a third party company. We do not do that in-house. That's a very specific requirement, okay, for the fund administration. So an auditor is required for all the regulated funds as well. So obviously there'll be financial statements and audited statements submitted to SEMA annually. And this is done through a fund admin in most cases that we've gone and worked with these financial institutions. And of course, the legal counsel always plays a key role in drafting the documents and advising on the regulatory obligations. So moving on to the role of the investment manager, again, very important topic of the actual fund. Your investment manager is typically set up as a legal entity and is different from a fund itself. So we always use BVI, or you could use an onshore company as well. For example, the UK or Switzerland, depending on your team and your regulatory position. If your fund is regulated, the manager will need to be registered with SEMA under the Securities Investments Business Act, that's called SIBA, unless an exemption applies. In most cases that we work with, we obviously get that exemption on behalf of the clients. The manager, if we go into the actual manager, the manager earns a management fee, which is usually 1 to 2% of assets under management, and may also receive a performance fee, typically 20% of profits. The manager earns that, however much he wants. If he wants to be quarterly, yearly, in terms of a time period, that's completely up to him, and that's set up by the PPM, which is essentially the key setup kind of documents. But before we go into that, importantly, the investment manager often delegates portfolio management to a licensed individual third-party advisors, particularly in multi-strategy funds. This is very common. So this is where it gets a little bit complex. It's hard to actually do a slideshow on this because of the the in-depth different complexities which you need, and obviously that's why you can speak with me directly. If you just go ahead and book a call below, that can obviously happen. So key setup documents, starting with the PPM. And the PPM, this is your investor disclosure. It explains the fund strategy, risks, terms, and fees. The subscription agreement, this is the document each investor signs. It covers their personal details, AML declarations, and the agreement terms in the PPM. The Articles of Association, this is generally what governs a company, but in this specific example I'm walking you through, this governs how the fund operates internally, from voting rights and directors' power to shareholder meetings. Investment management agreement. This defines a relationship between the fund and the investment manager. It lays out duties, compensation, and the scope of authority. So again, to recap some of this stuff, you'll structure your fund using an exempt company, an SPC, or an LP if needed. A master feeder fund allows more global capital to flow into your unified strategy. Directors, admins, custodians, and auditors and legal counsel form your core team. And we sort all of this out for you at 4 Point Solutions. The investment manager operates separately, often from another jurisdiction outside of the Cayman Islands in this case. The fund's core documents are critical. They must be carefully drafted, not copy and pasted. So in the next episode, we'll walk through step by step the actual process, incorporation, SEMA registration, and appointing all of your service providers. If you're enjoying this series, obviously, show some love, subscribe, share, and obviously reach out directly to me if you do want to build your fund with some world-class support, such as myself, taking you through step by step, and obviously we can manage it all for you. And yeah, other than that, guys, I'll see you in the next video, and we will be seeing each other soon.